On November 12th, 2012, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was released, with a zombies mode that furthered the narrative and creative choices from its predecessor Call of Duty Black Ops 1. At the launch of BO2, there were two maps, one being Transit and the other being a bonus experience known as Nuketown Zombies. But there was something else, a new game mode called Survival, that allowed you to enjoy Transit's POIs as a bite-sized experience to do just that, survive. No main quests, no side quests, no story, none of that. Just bare bones survival. Buzz Depot, Farm, and Town were unique survival experiences as they each limited your resources in some way compared to the other, and it was enjoyed by many and praised for its simplicity compared to the rest of BO2. But since then, the mode has not been seen from Treyarch. Title after title, the mode seemed dormant, with no sign of its return. For years, it has been heavily requested by the community, and for years, Treyarch never mentioned it. It seemed like one of those things that would forever stay in the past. But out of nowhere, after 13 long years from the great and infamous Black Ops 2, the survival game mode returns in Black Ops 7 Zombies. Treyarch claims the new survival maps will be released throughout the live seasons and will feature all the necessary tools to survive. So join me in this series as we review every survival map in Black Ops 7 and see how the mode holds up in this modern era of the franchise. But first, let me introduce you to a family. These are the Vandorns, and let me tell you, they got one hell of a farm. With the launch of BO7, we were introduced to Ashes of the Damned, a large-scale transit-inspired map, with one of the unique POIs being a farm owned by the Vandorns. This POI was used to feature our first BO7 survival map, Vandorn Farm. As we venture through the map, we will be exploring the many aspects of the experience, such as the atmosphere, the layout, the gameplay loop, and more. And with the recently added Curse Survival, we will see how it enhances the mode. So with no time to waste, let's get right into it. Being a POI from Ashes of the Damned, Vandorn Farm uses the exact same skybox and existing locations outside the bounds of the map. With the enclosed gate at the entrance of the farm, you can still see all the detail and surrounding areas of the Ashes of the Damned experience. The vibe of the surrounding areas such as the outback forest and parts of the farm combined with the ominous, dark yet peaceful sky mixed with the dark ether aura really paints this image of us being somewhere where we're not supposed to be. If we look at the Vandorn Farm survival description before selecting the map, it reads, "Everyone told you not to set foot on the Vandorn family farm, where the livestock walked upright and the crops were irrigated with blood. Why didn't you listen?" This is such a creepy description. It sounds like it could have been a radio by one of the victims of the Vandorns. The Vandorns are cannibals, so in certain areas of the map such as the cellar, it shows the work the Vandorns were doing on their victims. And when entering the barn, we can assume these are the victims themselves. Well, at least the ones that haven't been eaten. When inside the Vandorn farmhouse, we can see the Vandorns at the dinner table, as corpse, as we can see they were having their final meal together before becoming deceased. The house itself is really lived in, with the family sharing a bedroom and knowing something about the twins. When looking at the garage, it's a garage, not much going on here. Overall, the atmosphere is eerie and gives that horror that classic zombies used to give off way back in the day. The attention to detail is great, and the environmental storytelling is very noticeable here. It's a very fitting environment for zombies and super easy to get immersed into. This farm owned by the Vandorns is nothing but horror mixed with spectacle and a splash of beauty. As BO7 continues and pushes the game design and mechanics from BO6, most of the resources you should expect to see in a modern zombies map are here at our disposal in Vandorn Farm Survival, like the Wonder Fizz, Pack-a-Punch, Arsenal Machine, Crafting Bench, Ammo Crates, Armor Vests, and more. Some things are a bit different in today's age of the mode compared to when Survival was first conceived, and they do shake up the gameplay a bit, such as Gobblegum, where it can help you skip some of your progression, the Rampage Inducer, which can make rounds go by faster, or the TED tasks that are almost impossible to ignore, as completing it gives you a free perk. It's distracting from the base survival experience, but it is a benefit in the game. I do think it's an interesting inclusion though, for better or worse. All of these features are standard in any modern zombies map, as they will help you grow your power and survive. But there is more. Due to Vandorn Farm being a section from Ashes of the Dam, Treyarch's approach seems almost like an exact copy and paste, with some of the unique features of Ashes of the Dam making its way into Vandorn Farm, such as the plants you can spray that give you loot when you successfully defend them, or Chompy the trash can you could exchange loot with, and the saw blade, which can be seen across the main map, but this was already present on the farm POI. But the most interesting carryover from Ashes into Vandorn Farm is the free insta-kill you can get by shooting it at the top of this silo. See what I mean? Almost all of the features from Ashes are present here in Vandorn Farm. This is a very different approach from the BO2 survival experience. As in BO2, each survival map gives you limited resources, while here in BO7, it seems the experiences from the main map and the survival map are more streamlined than different, creating a more cohesive experience no matter what mode you're in. This has been a prominent thing in zombies for the past couple of years, as every experience in zombies seems more similar than unique. This opens the doors for players to play how they want wherever they want, whether it's in a standard zombies map or a survival map. But this also strips the identity and unique challenge survival maps used to pose back in BO2. This lack of map-to-map uniqueness and identity has been an issue in this modern age of zombies for a while, and it seems that problem is leaking into the survival game mode. But we have to remember, that is not what the main point of survival is. I believe people enjoy survival for the simplicity of gameplay and being able to hop in and go, and that aspect is very strong here in Vandorn Farm. When spawning in, you are presented with the farm in front of you, and first you must clear the generator, then open up the barn to activate power. It's easy, but does a lot for an engaging start in a survival map. As you open up the map, you will gain access to the resources needed to survive, and that's all the map progression there is. The layout is basic, with a wide outside area and 3 buildings with tight interior spaces. Naturally, there will be both good training and camping spots. This diversity and strategy is important in any map, as you have choices on how to survive. So with that out the way, let's talk about enemies. During your rounds, you will be fighting zombies per usual, but mixed in are armored zombies and Ravengers. They don't do much to disrupt the flow of your gameplay, except when a Ravenger wants to eat your loot, but overall it's standard stuff. Zursa, the elite enemy from Ashes of the Dam, makes their way into Vandorn Farm, which is fitting as you can see them rush you from the woods. A great special enemy to fight against with many different ways to defeat. The final enemy you will run into are the Doppelgas. After round 40, they will spawn once a round, dropping ammo for you. I don't mind this addition, although I do have issues with Treyarch reusing enemies, but this one isn't so bad, as they aren't so prominent, so I'll let it slide. So what type of weaponry is great here? Well, with the mystery box at your disposal, you have access to many different types of weapons and wonder weapons, such as the ray gun, the Mark II, and the wonder weapon from Ashes, the Necrofluid Gauntlet, which is a great addition from Ashes, as the whole quest to obtain the Necrofluid Gauntlet revolves around the Vandorn Farm. Also, in the crafting bench or dropped by enemies, you can get score streaks, where a handful are useful like the War Machine, Mangler Cannon, and more. But there is one thing in Vandorn Farm that makes everything else obsolete, and that is the Saw Blade Trap. This thing is a powerhouse. Similar to a monkey bomb, when enemies are close enough, the trap will attract the enemies and kill them instantly, no matter what round you're on, in the 50s, 60s, 100s, and beyond. The trap can basically destroy half a round, and with a cooldown, you can just complete the rest of the round with your weapons or wait for the trap to be available again. This is basically the high round strat for Vandorn Farm, and it's not super engaging, but it's still a strat nonetheless. But it is fun to see the zombies die to the trap. These high round camping strats that seem to be the most efficient way to survive have continued to taint the high rounds of modern zombies due to many different factors. but that's a topic for another day. Is the trap fun? Yes. Is it overpowered? Yes. Should it be the most efficient way to kill zombies without any risk? No. But does it ruin the Vandorn Farm experience? No. The first 40 or so rounds can be very engaging and fun to play and kill zombies. But once you start getting to the enemy health cap and super sprinters in the 50s, you'll most likely have to rely on the trap strat to survive beyond. So with all the resources needed to survive and a simple easy map layout, it's fun to go in and slay the undead. With many different wonder weapons to use and enemies to take down, and with an overpowered strat to climb the rounds, the gameplay loop of Vandorn Farm is fun, it's simple, and it's what people enjoyed the most about survival back in the day. To just hop in and simply kill zombies. Cursed is a new challenge mode that was introduced with BO7, where it features a few classic zombies mechanics such as the classic point system and spawning in with a pistol. This mode allows you to unlock these relics to add modifiers that make your game more difficult, and the more relics enabled, the more access you get to unique in-game rewards. Due to the classic feel and somewhat challenging presence, it created a community that enjoyed exclusively experiencing zombies in Cursed, and because of this, many people requested Cursed on survival maps, and for good reason. With Cursed Survival recently being added with Season 2, survival maps can be experienced in a more difficult and challenging way due to the match customization of Cursed relics. So that opens the door for many ways to play survival. But how do these rewards and mechanics of Cursed play a hand in the gameplay in survival? Spawning in with the pistol, 2 grenades, and a field upgrade, removing the whole loadout thing is a very nice change of pace, as you will approach your match differently compared to standard. That resource management aspect of classic zombies returns a bit because of this, especially with your points, as pack-a-punch and ammo crates are more expensive, way more expensive, so having a point gun is needed. And what better point gun to use than the Akita? This thing is broken and gets you points the fastest. Maybe if the costs weren't so high, you wouldn't have to rely on this thing, but I digress. Having a viable set of weapons like one for killing power and one for points is the way to go. Once set up and ready to continuously get more powerful, you will notice the setup process is the main difference between standard and cursed, while the mid and high rounds feel very similar between both modes. But one of the main differences are the rewards that we have access to, and they are even more expensive, with golden armor being 45,000 points and pack-a-punch tier 4 being 100,000 points. Oh, and ultra rarity for 8,000 salvage. The way golden armor impacts your cursed survival match is similar to cursed standard maps. It makes you survive longer, and resourcing armor is a breeze. And being in a confined space, zombies always rushing you, the extra power with ultra rarity and pack tier 4 does help. But as you go into the higher rounds, it sometimes doesn't seem noticeable. But with pack tier 4, it gives some of the weapons a unique feature and ability like it did in Black Ops 6 and some of the classic zombies games. With golden armor being the best reward, the other two for firepower are nice to have, but mainly just add more progression to your arsenal. A slight impact on gameplay, but a very welcomed reward. Another thing you can find are the Mr. Peaks Easter eggs, where when shooting Mr. Peaks, he'll drop an egg that gives you a pool of loot that will vary depending on what cursed tier you're playing. This will help you set up a ton, so be on the lookout as they're rare, and it doesn't really impact every match as it's hard for them to spawn. And the severity of it isn't as questionable compared to something like the Tetas, due to its rarity and the fact that it's exclusively in Cursed when you have a specific tier activated. So with the gameplay being very similar between standard and Cursed, like the mid game and high rounds, the beginning part of your match and setting up your arsenal is the main difference in progression. But my favorite thing about Cursed and survival is being able to have challenge-like matches, playing with all relics, gun game, classic like zombies, mimic simulator, and new ideas for challenges as new relics get added throughout the live season of BO7. It allows replayability without having to worry about the map. So instead of playing a standard map like Ashes and having to progress through the whole thing, you can now get straight into it with Cursed Survival. The simplicity of survival perfectly complements the idea of wanting to challenge yourself and only focusing on that challenge. Cursed in Survival is a great change of pace from standard, featuring classic mechanics that give off old school zombies vibes, where the map is simple and the gameplay and self-progression is engaging. with the interesting part of the mode being where it allows you to challenge yourself in ways that add a nice bit of replayability. And due to the simplicity of survival, you won't have to worry about the map, but the idea of the curse mode itself. So outside of just surviving for gameplay, what can you go for by playing Vandorn Farm? Well, there is a list of challenges for reaching certain round milestones that give you rewards. The survival challenges are to reach round 10 to unlock the Xursa Roaring Emblem and 1000 XP, reach round 25 to unlock the Fetch Their Souls Charm and 2500 XP, and finally reach round 50 to gain a free gift card Gobblegum and 5000 XP. Although the rewards are nothing exciting themselves, it's much appreciated to gain something for engaging with the survival mode. I do think better rewards such as a camo or more Gobblegums would be better, and I'm not saying like a crazy animated camo, but something basic that fits the map. But those are not all the rewards. There are more rewards to gain by playing Cursed, and in my opinion, they're better. The Cursed Survival challenges are to complete round 25 with tier 1 relics to gain a free hidden power Gobblegum and 10,000 XP, complete round 50 with tier 2 relics to gain a free Wonder Bar Gobblegum and 20,000 XP, and finally complete round 75 with tier 3 relics to unlock the Blood Vial's Charm and 30,000 XP. These rewards are much better, and as they should be due to Curse being a challenge type mode, so giving better rewards is a must. The one thing about these challenges is the fact that the tiers don't stack when reaching milestones. For example, if I have tier 3 active in my Curse match and I reach round 75, it will only count as a tier 3 game instead of a tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 game. So I'd have to play each match on the respective Curse tier that the challenges are asking for. Although it seems tedious, it's not that bad. I'm assuming Treyarch wanted more playtime, but besides that, the rewards seem fair. But once again, a camo would have been nice. But I do like that the charms are related to the cursed relics themselves. That's a very nice touch. Overall, the rewards are welcomed, and gives an incentive to engage with survival. Although they can be a bit better, they are appreciated nonetheless. Vandorn Farm is a return to survival, and for it being the first entry, it does a great job at bringing back the mode. A beautiful horror atmosphere that has you in awe at every turn, a simple map layout, everything at your disposal to survive against the undead, an interesting cast of enemies, and many ways to climb the rounds and weapons to use. Even if one of those ways is very overpowered, the simple survival aspect is very strong here, and does exactly what the game mode was aiming for over a decade ago. And with Cursed, it allows a challenge-like experience or an opportunity to dive back into some of the classic mechanics of older entries. Engaging with all of this gives you the ability to unlock and gain rewards that are much appreciated. But as we are in this age of zombies, much of modern Treyarch's design is seen in survival as well. With a cohesive experience between Vandorn Farm and Ashes of the Damned, which have both pros and cons, due to this modern style, the identity of the standard gameplay is not so different from Ashes, as everything needed to survive is in our hands and be rid some of the mode-to-mode uniqueness, where Zombies has been having this issue from map to map. Without getting ahead of myself, we will see this exact map-to-map identity issue within the survival mode itself in the future, losing that aspect of the different limited resources each survival map would give back in Black Ops 2. But Curse does help alleviate that a bit, which should be noted as some of the certain Curse mechanics play a big role in changing up the formula. So there is a bit of saving grace in that area of survival, which is why Curse being a part of the mode is amazing. The return of survival is an overall plus, and Vandorn Farm being the first BO7 survival map was a great choice. The basic aspect of the mode is heavily present here, but some of the unique aspects are missing, but that does not ruin the Vandorn Farm experience. Survival is to catch that feeling of simplicity Zombies used to have, that part of the player who loves slaying the undead and just surviving. Those are the roots of COD Zombies, and I believe its presence, no matter what era, should live on in some way, like survival.